It begins with a whisper, a crack in the porcelain facade. She lets you see a glimpse of the darkness she carries inside, a story, told late at night when the world is quiet. A story of a past so fractured, so stained with pain that you can't help but lean in closer. You feel a sense of privilege. She chose you to share this with. Out of everyone in her cold, cruel world, she trusts you. And in that moment, a silent contract is signed. You become the keeper of her pain, the protector of her fragile past. Her stories become the soundtrack to your relationship. Every decision, every argument is filtered through the lens of what she has endured. You want to go out with friends? A shadow crosses her face, a barely perceptible flinch. She mentions how being alone reminds her of, well, you try to set a boundary, to ask for space. Suddenly, you are the source of a new wound, another name on the long list of people who have hurt her. Your empathy, your desire to be a good person, has been turned into a leash. And she is holding it tight. This is not healing. This is not vulnerability. This is a strategy. It's the weaponization of trauma, a psychological tactic where a person's real or embellished past suffering is used as a tool for control, justification, and manipulation. Let's be clear, the trauma itself may be real. The pain she describes may have happened. That is not the issue. The manipulation lies in the performance of that pain. It is curated, presented, and deployed with precision to achieve a specific outcome. Healthy sharing of trauma builds intimacy and leads to healing. It is a dialogue. Weaponized trauma is a monologue. It demands a captive audience. It works because it targets the best parts of you, your empathy, your compassion, your fundamental need to alleviate suffering in others. It's an emotional checkmate. If you question her narrative, you are cruel. If you pull away, you're abandoning her. You have no winning moves. Consider the story of Liam and Eleonora. Liam was a kind man, a man who believed in healing. Eleonora was a beautiful enigma, a woman who carried her past like a tattered but precious cloak. Her stories were epic tragedies, a childhood spent in a cold, loveless orphanage, betrayals by everyone she had ever trusted. She painted her life as a barren wasteland, and Liam was her first oasis. At first, he was honored to be her sanctuary. He would cancel plans, spend hours listening, holding her when the nightmares came. He slowly became her entire world. Because her past was so big, it left no room for anything else. No room for his friends, his hobbies, his own needs. One evening, Liam's oldest friend, Mark, tried to talk to him. "She seems to need a lot," Mark said carefully. "Are you okay?" Liam defended her fiercely. "You don't know what she's been through." He felt a surge of righteous anger. He was her only defender. When he got home, Eleonora could sense his unease. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice impossibly fragile. He told her. Her reaction was not anger, but a deep, theatrical sorrow. "He's just like them," she whispered, a tear tracing a familiar path. "Everyone always tries to take you away from me. I knew I shouldn't have trusted anyone again." The trap was sprung. Now, to protect her, Liam had to distance himself from Mark. He had to prove he wasn't like them. He was isolated. Her past had become a fortress, and he was locked inside with her, the warden and the prisoner, and sometimes he couldn't tell which was which. This is the endgame of weaponized trauma. Not connection, but consumption. Not healing, but control. So how do you escape? The moment of clarity is quiet. It isn't an explosion, it's a click, the subtle sound of a key turning in a lock you didn't know was there. You notice the repetition. The same stories with the same emotional beats are deployed at strategically convenient times. An argument is brewing?
Out comes the story of her abandonment. You're celebrating a personal success. She's suddenly overwhelmed by a tragic anniversary.
It's too perfect, too coincidental. Real trauma is messy, chaotic, and unpredictable. This is scripted. The second realization: genuine healing doesn't require an audience. People who are truly working through their trauma often become more private, not less. They don't constantly reopen the wound to show others how much it bleeds. They protect it, they clean it, they allow it to scar over. The weaponized narrative, however, relies on a fresh, bleeding wound. It needs it to be seen. The scar tissue of healing would render the weapon useless.
Here is the truth. You cannot save her because she is not drowning. She is the storm.
Your role was never to be her savior, it was to be her fuel. Your attention, your guilt, your energy, these are what feed the performance. To disarm her, you do not need to fight. You do not need to accuse. You simply need to withdraw the fuel. You must become a terrible audience. When she presents the story, you don't engage. You offer a simple, detached acknowledgement. That sounds difficult. And then you change the subject. When she tries to use her past to excuse poor behavior, you hold the boundary. I understand you've been through a lot, but it is not okay to speak to me that way. She will escalate. The stories will become more dramatic. The pain will appear more acute. This is the tantrum of a manipulator losing control. Do not be drawn back in. This is the most critical phase. You are teaching her that the old weapon no longer works on you. This is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of profound self-preservation. It is also, in a strange way, the most compassionate thing you can do. By refusing to enable the manipulation, you create a space where, just maybe, real healing can begin. A healing that she must choose for herself, without an audience.